Okay, with atrocious lighting, I'm going to attempt to discuss pretty briefly the match between Grigor Dimitrov uh, and Nick Kyrgios at the Brisbane International. Uh, it was a very competitive match that was beautiful to watch. I mean, both players are very, very talented and have a lot of promise in the game of tennis. Kyrgios has not been able to quite break through, but Dimitrov does seem to be having a breakthrough. He did very well last year. In fact, he's the defending champion, or he was. As it happened, Kyrgios won this match against Dimitrov because, really, frankly, because of errors by Dimitrov. But Kyrgios played very well. Dimitrov took the first set, and Kyrgios basically broke at about midway through each of the ensuing sets and took the match and will compete against Ryan Harrison in the Brisbane final. But it's significant, the match, for a couple of reasons. One is Dimitrov, and I think Dimitrov is very possibly going to be a threat to Roger Federer going into the Australian Open. It's true that Dimitrov today suffered a defeat to Kyrgios, but as I was talking about in a previous video, I think this is actually sort of a better footing to be on going into a major, because you have a little fire, you want to prove yourself. So I expect some very good things from Dimitrov in the Australian Open. Remember, he went straight through to the semifinal of the Australian last year, where he had an epic 5-set match with Rafael Nadal, and where Nadal did in fact prevail. But Dimitrov is very talented. They call him Baby Fed. Because he plays a bit like Roger Federer. He doesn't quite have the grace, he doesn't quite have the artistry that you see in Federer and that you saw from Federer from a very early point. So if we were going to see that kind of finesse, that kind of grace from Dimitrov, we would probably already be getting glimpses of it. But he's not the most beautiful player to watch, but at the same time, he does have a Federer-esque, as it were, style to his play, and so it's been said that, a vote for Dimitrov is a vote. A vote for Dimitrov, in other words, ascending in the ATP competitions, is kind of a vote for Federer, because he's basically, they call him Baby Federer, Federer's son, essentially, in the way he plays. But he's definitely not as good as the master, but I do expect some very, very interesting and probably some awe-inspiring tennis play from Dimitrov this coming year. Even more so, I think, than Zverev, but we'll see what happens. Again, he's he's defending ATP champion. He won the finals in 2017, so and he dominated at the finals. And Federer, remember, was knocked out, but we'll see what happens. Federer has generally been able to out-Federer Dimitrov, so that has been the way it has worked out, but we'll see what happens, and that's going to be very, very interesting. Kyrgios also presents something of a notable possible threat for Federer at the Australian. And for, Nadal, assuming he gets back in there. We don't know about Djokovic yet, but the basic idea here is that I think Dimitrov might have a fire that Federer possibly, sort of riding on the wave of confidence from the Hopman Cup. He might not have the fire that he needs. Federer often does well in Grand Slams when he loses these warm-up loses in, quarterfinals, semifinals, maybe finals of the warm-up tournaments. Feels like he has something to prove. Dimitrov may have that advantage going into this Grand Slam. And in any case, I think Dimitrov is worthy of mention and is not getting enough attention as somebody who could really be a formidable, formidable threat at this year's Australian Open. Those are my 2 cents. Have a good one. Bye.